Hare Krishna, Namaste. This question is the outcome from the yesterday's audio. Let me read the question. In your previous audio, you mentioned one of the difference between us and saints is that we controlled by anger, whereas the saints controls anger. That means they are free of anger. My question is, when we study the stories in the scriptures, we learn that even those great saints get into serious angry mood. Some of them also get into lust. Some make mistakes. Just to name few, Durvasa curses Ambarisha, Narada curses the sons of Kuvera, Gautama curses his wife Ahalya, and the list goes on. The second part is we also see the highly situated devatas commit mistakes too. They are supposed to set an example to the mankind. Rather, they also do some sinful acts out of lust and anger. They send apsaras to disturb the tapas of saints, the austerities of the saintly people. Some also get into some illicit relationship with others' wife. These rishis and devatas must be in sattva guna and full of bhakti, but they seem to be also having lust, anger, and then make mistakes. When these great rishis who are very austere falls into lust and anger, then what is wrong in we getting into such acts? Then how come these rishis can advise us not to get kama and krodha? Likewise, if these devatas, who must be an example to the mankind, commit unacceptable acts, then why we have to be punished when we do something wrong? How do we understand these things? This is the question. Now let's see the answer. If such great austere rishis falls into kama and krodha, then how careful we should be in our dealings in this world, which is full of opportunities for us to fall down. If when such highly positioned devatas commit mistakes and get involved in sinful acts, then how careful we should be in our thoughts, speech, and acts. So from these stories that we hear, we must derive strong lessons that when rishis and devatas themselves get into such situation, then we must be very, very careful not to think because they commit mistakes, now I am free to commit mistakes. I can also get engaged in all sinful activities. That is not the way that we have to think. When it comes to rishis and munis, we must know that what we learn about them, their anger and their lust, are just a percentage, less than a percentage of their other good deeds. They are very compassionate, they are very austere, they are very self-controlled, they are very devoted, they are very sincere, their lifestyle is very sattvic, they live with the nature, they are devoid of material desires, they are great yogis. There are so many positive qualities in them which we can learn from them. The negative incidents that we learn in their lives are very negligible compared to the positive things. We cannot equate a negative, negligible percentage of their life to the majority of the good, pious deeds that they have done. They may have one or two areas which they may need some improvements, which they are much more aware than us. But then one may still argue that even if we have nice preparation of palatable food, a drop of poison will spoil the entire preparation. The entire preparation becomes poisonous. No one will consume it. Likewise, though these rishis may have 99.999% of good qualities, if they have 0.001% of bad quality, it will spoil the entire life, their reputation. Is it not right? Well, we cannot take this example and apply it to the rishis and munis, or even for that matter in our life. Many of us have less good qualities and more bad qualities. The rishis and munis have many good qualities and very few unacceptable qualities. So, what we must learn from such cases is that the samsara, this material world, is so very powerful, it can even pull the senses of such great rishis. Krishna himself confirms this in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 60th sloka. Yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha indriyani pramatini haranti prasabam manaha. The senses are so strong, Arjuna, they can even forcefully carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who's endeavoring to control them. So the second reason is that those rishis can rectify their mistakes by proper prayachitta, atonement. They have that strength to do the right atonement. They know what to do. Even if it takes several years, they can do it with complete faith and determination. We cannot do that. In the life of sage Vishwamitra, he had to perform tapasya each time when he gave up himself into anger and lust. So the point is that even if they curse out of anger, yes, they will lose their spiritual strength that they gained. But they have the willpower to perform the austerity again and regain their strength. We cannot do that. When the Devatas makes mistakes, it's a lesson for us to know that even in such high planets, they make mistakes. Therefore, we must not keep the heavenly planet as our destination. Rather, we need to desire to go to the spiritual world. So the simple point is, we cannot do mistakes because they did. They had bhakti, they had jnana, they had the strength to do appropriate prayachitta, the atonement. We don't have that level of bhakti, jnana and shakti. Their lifespan is longer, ours is shorter. One time, Adi Shankaracharya, along with his disciples, was passing through a forest. A man came to Adi Shankara and offered him a pot of alcohol with great respect. Adi Shankara kindly accepted and drank it completely. The disciples was taken back, seeing their guru drinking alcohol. They kept quiet out of fear and respect and did not dare to ask that question to their guru. So they all continued their journey deep into the forest. As they were walking, another man approached Adi Shankara and offered him a pot of mercury with respect and devotion. Adi Shankara, with love, accepted that and emptied the pot and continued walking. Then the disciple understood that they cannot imitate the great souls, and also they, meaning we, cannot understand their acts. So the best thing is to simply serve the great souls and follow their good instructions. That's all. Not to try to imitate whatever they do. So 2 points from such acts by the rishis and devatas. 1, the senses are so powerful that they can even pull such great rishis. The second point, they have the power and strength to rectify their mistakes. Now let's take a different view to this subject. It is true the rishis curse out of anger as we saw earlier, but also their curse mostly is to punish the miscreant. And there is nothing wrong in such curses. Cursing someone who commit mistakes, and it doesn't fall into the anger category. Like a judgment is given by the judge to punish someone who committed some crime. That judge cannot be criticized that he did out of anger. Second example, a traffic police officer gives ticket to the rash driver. That officer cannot be criticized that he issued ticket out of anger. If the criminal is not punished, if the rash driver is not punished, then they are going to be a disturbance to the society. Therefore, they have to be punished. So, it is not necessary the rishis curse others out of anger. Rather, it could be out of concern for that person who's committing offenses. The curse itself could be a hidden boon for such offenders. If such offenders, miscreants, are not punished, not cursed, then the power of those sinners will become uncontrollable and cause more disturbance to the society. We can learn that from the life of Ravana. Because he had some curses, he was under some control. Otherwise, he is totally uncontrollable. It would have been very difficult. Therefore, the point is not that all the curse are due to Rishi's anger. It could be a genuine reason to punish those miscreants so that such people can rectify their mistakes. How do we know that? Well, if the rishis wants to control their curses, they can easily do so, unlike us, where we have less control of what we think, what we speak, and what we do. But they are not like that. Sage Vishwamitra, when he approached King Dasaratha, he clearly stated that I can take care of myself. I can save myself. I can save the fire sacrifice. I can deal with demons who are disturbing us. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to curse them and defeat the whole purpose of what I'm trying to do. Therefore, Dasaratha, please give your son to me. Let him handle the demons and let me focus on getting the fire sacrifice completed successfully. From this, it is very clear if the sages needed, they can control their anger. And if it's needed, they can exhibit their anger. In our case, we don't have the control of anger. Rather, the anger controls us. Therefore, we cannot imitate like those great sages. Another point to note is that the curses that the rishis utter will be on those who are powerful in their wealth, powerful in their strength, their knowledge, or they may be arrogant, they may be egoistic, pride, etc. They do not simply walk around and start cursing people left and right because they are angry. When we are upset with someone, then we show our anger to weaker people. But the rishis and munis are not like that. From this also it is clear they know what they are doing. Their curse ends in good for the person who is being cursed. They do not curse out of ego. They do not curse out of their personal grudge on someone. So to conclude, anyone who are in this world are tossed by the material energy. Therefore, it is important that we are always under the shelter of the Lord by performing devotional service, by chanting His names, by constantly hearing His katha, by serving His devotees, by showing our respect to these great rishis and munis who have lived for the welfare of the humanity. Show our respect to the devatas for what they have done to us. So, by all means, the rishis and devatas are greater. The small black marks will not diminish their reputation. There are many related stories that we can quote from the Itihasas and Puranas to support what we just presented, but we leave that to the audience to contemplate and relate to appropriate stories from the scriptures. This will be a good exercise for today to keep our mind busy. We are not saying to pick those rishis and munis' name who have committed mistakes, but to learn lessons from what happened from those stories and connecting to some of the points that we just shared. Thank you. Hare Krishna.